Hello everybody, it's Ronnie with Whip and Chain. I work with Maggie and Lauren to bring you beautiful crochet tutorials and help you learn how to do this wonderful hobby. Today is a lesson on staggered increasing, and I dabbled with it a long time ago and I never really followed through with it because I didn't know how much interest there would be in it. But with the agrogumi, I can't pronounce that word right, so I apologize. Very popular. I wanted to talk about it. Both these samples are increasing around, but very different. This one is the standard, the way we learn, and the way we learn, it actually starts looking like a hexagon. And you can see, if you look, you can see where your increases are all the time. And the reason you can see them is because there's two stitches put in one space, so it's a bigger stitch. So it's very defined on where all your increases are when you do the normal, which is you start out with 6 single crochets, then the second row you put in 2 single crochets in every stitch, and then you do a single crochet, then an increase, single crochet, increase, and then the next row it's 2 single crochets and an increase, 2 single crochets and an increase, then it's 3 single crochets and an increase, and you keep going for as big as you want your project to be. So it's very defined on where your increases are, and this is fine. This is not wrong to do. You can still make a ball out of this. You can still do whatever project you're trying to do. Me, I'm always looking for ways so you can't see your stitches. I'm an advocate on that, and if there's new ways to learn, I'm always going to be about it, but I'm going to always try it out to make sure that's what I want. Now, this one I increased up into 6. This one I think was 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. No, 6. They're both 6. So it's 6 single crochets and increase. And look at this one, round. I mean, you can see a little bit, but it's round. This one looks like a hexagon. So it's amazing. The way this increase is done. So I want to show you on paper because it's actually really hard to explain, but I'm gonna do a sample, and I'll show you exactly how to do this. And the way the staggered increasing is done, it's done on the even rows. So let me try to explain. And then we're going to do the visual. So with this, you're going to start out with your center of 6 single crochets. That's what you do. All right. And then the next row is 2 single crochets in each stitch. So you end up with 12 single crochets. Now the next row will be 1 single crochet, then the next one would be an increase. This would be considered an odd row, all right, because it's only 1 single crochet. Now the next row would be considered an even row. So normally you would do 2 single crochets and then an increase, but instead we're going to stagger it. So we're going to do 1 single crochet, then we're going to do an increase, which would be 2 single crochets, and then again we're going to do 1 single crochet. Now it is 2 single crochets in an increase, but it's staggered. So but this is what you need to understand when you're doing this row. This is how you do it. Just listen, try to listen, okay? It's hard for me to verbally, it's easier doing it, but I'm trying to explain it so you can follow better. So you would do 1 single crochet, then you would do your increase, then you would do a 1 single crochet. Then you will repeat that. You'll do another single crochet, then you'll do an increase, then 1 single crochet, then 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single. You keep doing this 3. Okay, so it's not like alternating 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, increase, 1. It's not that. It's you follow this 3 sync. So it's 1 increase, 1 1 increase, 1, and you do that all the way around. So then the next row would be considered an odd row. So that would be, you would just do your 3 single crochet and increase. All right, but the next row would be considered even. So normally what you would do is 4 single crochet and an increase, but what we're going to do is you do 2 single crochet, increase, and 2 single crochet. All right, so this is how this is going to keep going, and I'm going to do it a sample so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But what's really nice about this is look how round this is. This is a game changer, guys. Huge for all your projects, and you're still coming up with the exact same count on your project. So you're not gaining stitches, you're not losing stitches, you're doing the exact same thing that you need to be doing with your counts. It's just a different way of increasing to allow your project to stay round. So let's get started. I'm just using some acrylic yarn that I have, nothing special. But again, this is what we're trying to get away from. All right, this looks like a hexagon, and we just don't want it. Doing this, I absolutely need my papers, and I mark it off because I will lose count of what I'm doing. That's just who I am. That's how I work. That's how my brain works. So forgive me for that. So I'm starting out with a magic ring. You can start out however you want your project to start out at. So with the single crochets, I'm going to put my 6 single crochets in. Put my 6 single crochets. Okay, and then the next row would be an increase, so 3, so it's just 2 single crochets in every stitch to get up to 12. and this is 12. So I'm just going to mark off as I go so I know what I'm doing. So now this next row would be considered an odd row increase. So I'll put in 1 single crochet and then an increase. So it's 1 single crochet and an increase. One single crochet and an increase. So as of right now, everything's the same on how you start this, but the next row is where the game changes. Move back a little bit. So now this row would normally be 2 single crochets and an increase, 2 single crochets and an increase, and so forth. But what we're going to do is the next stitch, put your single crochet, but the next stitch you put 2 single crochet, and then the next stitch 1 single crochet. Let me put my stitch marker in before I lose my spot. So now that was 1 single crochet, the next stitch was an increase, then 1 single crochet. Now we're going to repeat that again. 1 single crochet. Then the next one, 2 single crochets. Then 1 single crochet. Let's repeat that again. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets in that same stitch, which is an increase. Then 1 single crochet. Now let's repeat that again. 1 single crochet, then an increase, 2 single crochets, and then 1 single crochet. Let's do it again. 1 single crochet, an increase, 2 single crochets, and then 1 single crochet. And let's repeat it one more time. 1 single crochet, an increase, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, which is an increase, and then 1 single crochet. And your starting stitch was a single crochet, so it matches. Everything matches. All right, let's go to the next row. The next row will be considered an odd row. So we're going to increase like we've been taught. So it will be 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then the next one will be an increase. again. 1, 2, 3 single crochets, and then an increase. And 3 single crochets, and an increase. 3 single crochets, and an increase. 3 single crochets, and then an increase. And 3 single crochets, and then an increase. All right, so now the next row is considered an even row. So we're going to do 2 single crochets, an increase, and 2 single crochets. And then do 2 single crochets, and an increase. And 2 single crochets, and an increase. Two single crochets. Oh, I messed up. Start again. 2 single crochets, increase, 2 single crochets. Start again. 2 single crochets, increase, 2 single crochets, increase, 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets, two, increase. It's hard to get into that rhythm sometimes. And 2. And start again. 2, 1 and 2, and increase, and end it with 2, and start over again. 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, then you increase, and then end it with 2 single crochets, then start over again. 2 single crochets, increase, end it with 2 single crochets, and then start over again. I think that's how I'm going to remember it. 2 single crochets, increase, and then 2 single crochets. Now, look at this. This versus that. Huge, huge, huge game changer. Very, very different. This is very defined. This is looking like a circle. What you're looking for. So this is the row that we just completed. So then the next row would be 5 single crochets and an increase, and this would be considered an odd row. So that would be your next row. The next row would be 6 single crochet and an increase, which is considered an even row. So you would do 3 single crochets, increase, and 3 single crochets. So all you're doing is splitting the amount of single crochets that you would do in half. All right, so example, the next row would be 7 single crochets and an increase, which is considered an odd row. The next row would be 8 single crochets and an increase, which would be considered an even row. Half of 8 is 4, so you would do 4 single crochets, an increase, and 4 single crochets, and then you would just keep. So this number counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it'll keep going, keep going, keep going. But that is how you do that. I know it sounds simple in theory, but because we've been so programmed to do the increases this way, it's almost like we have to wrap our brain around doing it, relearning it. Actually, that's basically what we have to do. We have to relearn it. But once you relearn it, it's a win. Look at this. This one is the way we've been taught. And this is not wrong. I want to please understand, this is not wrong. I like to find ways to do my patterns where you can't see where you begin and end, or where you do your increases or decreases. That's who I am. I like getting better and better and better at what I'm doing so I can teach you. So this one was done with the staggered increase. This is going to be a cool project we have coming soon. Coming soon. Coolest project ever. I think ever. Anyway, I'm excited. Can you tell? But this is done with the staggered increase. This is done with the staggered increase. This is done with the increase we've been taught. So I know some people are going to have a lot of questions on this, and that's absolutely fine. Please, in the comments below this video, if you have questions or if you don't understand something, let us know. Maggie and I will always try to help you. We do work during the day, but we will get back to you as soon as we can, because I want you to be successful at this. But if you do your agrogumi, I'm probably sorry, I'm hacking that word, so I apologize. But if you do this, this is a game changer for your projects. Huge game changer. All right, wanted to show you this, and I did. And if you have any questions, please let us know. I am Ronnie. I work with Maggie and Lauren to bring you these beautiful crochet tutorials and different ways of learning how to crochet. If you have any questions, let us know. Here at Whip and Chain, it is always a work in progress. Until next time, happy crocheting, everybody.